Everybody. Today I want to talk to you about how to make a positive negative pendant design. Hopefully before you watch this video you've already learned about positive and negative space and how to create an effective sense of balance with it. We're going to be applying those same skills here, so I would definitely familiarize yourself with those. Here are some examples of some pendants I created with the um, with the laser cutter. And actually it's several materials. There's magazine cutouts in there for the color, and then there's actually plexiglass over it, and then wood. So I'm going to discuss how to do that. But to get started, this will be a link right here. So you'll just click on this, and then I'll have obviously the videos here. But here is an example of the worksheet. It'll probably be more fleshed out by the time you guys see it with directions on it. But here's an example of me using something that's extremely effective, the quick mask tool, or not the quick mask, I'm sorry, the light trace tool to essentially create a vector of this. I mean, I could spend all day with the pen tool trying to go back over and find these, and if I click on this image right here, you're going to look closely, it's all vectorized. And I can create this in a matter of like minutes, if even less. Although the first thing you really need to start with is a high quality image. I found this online. It's not mine, but I'm going to show you how to use a section of it. So again, we're avoiding copyright issues. Although remember my rule about good, better, best. Good is when if you're using someone else's image, you were modifying it beyond original recognition. Better is if you're using your own images, and obviously best is if you are working from direct observation, although on the computer I would say using your own images is fine. So let me show you how to do this. I'm going to take this, and I'm making a copy of it just because I'm needing this for the worksheet. You don't have to make a copy of it. So I'm selecting it, and then you go to Window and go to Image Trace, which I already have open. So let me slide that over so you can see it. This is the image trace panel here, and yours is probably going to look something like this, and you're going to select the black and white mode for this because we only want, again, positive and negative space. Hit preview and it'll show you what it looks like. And if I zoom in a little bit while we're doing this, something else you do have control over, let me close all these up just so they're not in the way, is you can potentially modify. For example, if I increase the threshold this way, it basically takes more lighter colors and makes them darker. Whereas if I make the threshold less, it'll take the lighter colors, or the darker colors, and make them lighter. So right in the middle, actually, for this one looks pretty good. You can also, if you go to paths and make them higher, it'll just define your shapes a little bit more. Sometimes I find that really makes a difference. It really depends on the initial image you start with. Again, corners. Let's see what happens if I do that. Sometimes it makes it more angular. I'm not really noticing a tremendous difference either way with this one. And again, noise, I really don't feel like that's doing much of anything, is it? So once you're happy with what you have, what you're going to do is go to unclick preview and hit trace. And basically what that does is it takes the image and it vectorizes it. But there's one more thing you need to do. Go to Object, Expand, and say OK to that, to Object and Fill. And now you actually have editable anchor points, which is pretty fantastic. Obviously, if there's something you want to modify, if you want to, for example, come in here with your tools palette, your pen tool, and let's say I wanted this to be more straight across, I could, of course, grab my pen tool and modify those anchor points and do just that. So sometimes that matters for depending on what you're doing, but that just looks a little bit neater.